views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good evening and welcome to Bronxtalk. This Friday is November 11th, which of course means Veterans Day, a day in which we honor the men and women who heroically serve and have served in our armed forces. Make no mistake, these are the people who keep us safe. And so as we have done periodically throughout the years of our program, we also take a moment to honor these great Americans. We'll talk to two veterans who spent a lot of time serving their comrades in arms in the Bronx, and by extension, all of us. Not only will we find out about their activities, but we'll review what it's like for a veteran to try to assimilate into society, veteran homelessness, how the GI Bill can help veterans get an education, dealing with PTSD, and a host of other issues. If you have questions or comments, or even if you want to say something nice about our veterans and why wouldn't you, send an email to us at bronxtalk@bronxnet.org, or you post them on our Facebook page, and we'll read them on the air during a future edition of our program. For the here and now, the first of our two veterans, he is the CEO of Devil Dog USA, Gonzalo Duran. Good evening, Gonzalo. Nice to have you.
Good evening, and thank you for the warm introduction. I appreciate it. I think that's the best one I've ever had.
Okay. Tell me a little bit of just about you and your service before we get into all the wonderful things you do. And I know we're all in the Bronx getting an education about your passion for serving veterans. But just tell me about your own service and what you did and when you served.
Well, I did 8 years in the United States Marine. I finished as a sergeant. I jumped around from Hawaii, California, and back to New York. I did one tour in Iraq in 2008, Fallujah, Iraq, and I'm here back at home. I wish I could say my story was more patriotic, but I was just a kid that got picked out. You want to join, and then from there.
Well, what about that experience was so long-lasting that you said, gee whiz, now that I'm back in civilian life, I want to dedicate a lot of my time and energy to helping other veterans?
Well, unfortunately, it's not a beautiful story. It's actually a very sad story.
Tell the truth, I think, is what we got to do.
Well, coming back home, I had a very rough transition. I ended up homeless 3 months, and then it took me some time to adjust to the way things were going, and then from there I just sprung out. And everything that I learned on how to get out of those bad situations, the hardship that I went through, I used that to build the foundation of my organization.
Mm-hmm. How long ago did you found Devil Dog USA?
Well, I would say that in 2012 is when I got the idea, the logo, the name set up and everything like that, but not until 2013 did I actually take the initiative to put paperwork into it.
Mm-hmm. What do you view as the philosophy behind it? I mean, we're going to talk in specifics about the many really creative and interesting things you do with veterans, but what's the philosophy you go under that drives you and motivates you every day?
Easy. Honor, courage, and commitment.
Mm-hmm. That you want to, I guess...
well, I want to honor the individuals that served so that we can be in the situation that we are. Unfortunately, you have to look at homelessness, unemployment, PTSD, suicide. The ones that sacrifice their lives wouldn't want to hear those numbers that we have to deal with when we come back home. Mm-hmm. So honoring those gentlemen, courage.
And women too.
And women, yes. Women. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, I know.
You got me there.
No, I know, and I know you do serve so many women,
yes.
So there's not an exception here, it's the rule.
Yes. Then the courage to take situations, because like the homeless, unemployment, all those are things that have been going on for decades. It's not just a one-time thing that's going on.
Like all of a sudden.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my philosophy is do things that are different, shake it up, and let the good people take care of the way it's supposed to be. And then the commitment. I've been doing this for almost like 4 years, and I don't have a penny to my name, and I've lost more than I've given, but I still continue to do it no matter what.
Because of that commitment.
Because of the commitment.
All right, this is what we want to do. We're going to bring on one of your comrades in arms, although in civilian arms, who really works to take care of veterans. He's here, and he's going to talk about the opportunities for veterans in college and his experience serving veterans. So he, me, you, and we're all going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We'll Bronx Talk right after this.
Hi, I'm David Lesh, legal correspondent to the morning show Open. If you have a legal question that you'd like me to answer, please send me an email at davidlesh@bronxnet.org, and I will address it on our Ask Your Lawyer segment.
What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm Darren Hyman. I want to invite you to share with me on Perspectives with yours truly. Guess what? What do? We share perspectives. We find out about stuff with politics, news, current events, and the things that really make a difference in your life. Perspectives with yours truly, Darren Hyman.
Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic.
Welcome, everybody. We are open. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. You can catch me on there each and every night right after the Quiet Storm. You can catch me right here on Open, 10 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Let's just call it on the 10s and then just keep it tuned. And we got you covered like a blanket, okay? I'm out in the community and we're all over the place because we are now open.
If you want to stay in the know about the latest happenings en español, check out Diálogo Abierto, BronxNet's own Spanish show, Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. on Channel 67. The latest in news, arts, culture, politics, and what's going on in your neighborhood. Diálogo Abierto, the best way to stay connected in Spanish. See you there. Te esperamos.
Okay, back with you on Bronx Talk. We're talking about veterans, and we're also joined this evening by Raymond Morales of Monroe College, who really works in the Veterans Office at Monroe College. Yes. Before we talk about the work that you do and the work at the college, talk to me about you and your service. When did you serve, and where did you serve, and then when did you become a civilian again?
All right. Well, I did 3 decades as a soldier.
3 decades?
3 decades. I started in 1985. And I retired in November of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And what branch of the service?
I was in the Army.
You were in the Army and you served overseas?
I served overseas. My first tour of duty was in Germany during the Cold War.
You and I have known each other a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was an interesting transition for you of how you got from being a serviceman all the way to where you are working in a veterans office. So I know it's a long story, but briefly tell me how we got from point A to point B.
Well, I was coming close to my retirement, 26 years, and I had to find the next step. I'm too young to just sit around and not do anything. So I started looking for options, and I found Monroe College,
Mm-hmm.
Monroe College has been around the area for a long time.
Of course.
I was looking at job interviews. I was saying, came from a bad job interview. Called my mother, said, bad job interview, I'll just keep looking. She said, Monroe College has an open house. So
for students now?
For students,
right.
Yes.
You had not graduated college?
I hadn't even gone to college yet.
Uh-huh.
So I was on the 4 train, Fordham Road came up, I got off the train, walked into Monroe, and say la vie.
I guess that's right. The rest is history, because then you graduated, and then of course now you help other people to graduate.
Yes.
When veterans come into the college, how do you find them? Where are they at? Are they just, oh yeah, I'm ready to go to college? What are the things that you need to do to deal with them and to help them succeed that maybe other guidance counselors or others don't do with other students?
Right, well, typically a veteran will come in, or I'll go out and find them in the job fairs or career fairs, veterans fairs, things like that. They'll come in and they'll ask, what can you do for us? Some have the post 9/11 GI Bill, some are just National Guard and Reservists where they fall under a different chapter, right? Some use the old GI Bill because they haven't been deployed after September 11th,
Right.
so they wouldn't qualify for the post 9/11 GI Bill.
Do you have to do a lot of education? Like some of them say, well, gee, that's a nice idea to go to college, but they're unaware that they, frankly, have earned the opportunity to benefit in really very nice ways because of their service.
Well, our active duty personnel are better briefed than the National Guards are, and
That's
the reservists, right? They do know that they have a benefit in National Guard and Reserves, but active duty, when they're prepared to get out of the service, they know what they have in front of them. Whereas a reservist, if they have a good career counselor, they will get what they need, as far as information. National Guard and Reservists always come down. We talk to them as often as possible. I myself retired out of the National Guard here in the Bronx in the 258 Field Artillery. So I talk to their readiness NCOs, which is like a training NCO. They let them know what's out there for them.
Right.
Then talking to other soldiers, word of mouth does spread.
Sergeant Duran, let's talk a little bit about the people that you serve. How do you get to them? Do they just show up at your door? Do you do outreach? How do you find veterans who could use your support?
It's a little bit of everything. So there's a lot of word of mouth. There's a lot of social media, a lot of outreach. Then there's colleagues that you join with, and it just spreads. It's easier. The veteran community it's like water. No matter who you know, somebody knows somebody who's a veteran.
Else, yeah. Talk to me about, and I guess a similar line of questioning that I asked Mr. Morales. Talk to me about what their needs are. When you look at them or you greet a veteran and say, gee whiz, you're doing X, Y, or Z, what state do you find them in? Are they focused on what they need to do? Have they been assimilated back into our society? Or are there difficulties that you have to try to help them bridge?
Well, I think Ray hit it perfectly. Some individuals have all the information, some don't, some are in between. For me, I try to give everybody as much information that I can, because no matter what, there's always something you're missing. Some individuals know that they can go to school, but some don't understand that you have to have an honorable discharge or some general honorable discharge or something like that. Even somebody with a dishonorable discharge can qualify under certain conditions if he does an upgrade, et cetera, et cetera. There's always something you're gonna miss, so I try to give out as much as I can that's possibly given, and then see what they grab and go from there.
Those of us who are civilians and have been civilians, and frankly I never served, we're, I think, unaware sometimes of the size, not only of the commitment, because we know what the horrible possibilities are, but the size of the service. I mean, there's more than 1.2 million service members currently in active duty in the United States of America. That's an extraordinary number of veterans, and when they come back, they all are going to need any number of services. And frankly, I don't want to say need, they have earned our respect and our commitment to make sure they get it. And an additional 800,000, so you're practically up to 2 million people. Gonzalo, you do so much great stuff, and I want to just show some pictures. We pulled it off your Facebook page.
Making me blush over here.
Well, let's show, I know Brianna has some of the pictures up there. Let's just show some of the things that you have done. There we go. Now, what is this? When you told me you do this, I was like, well, that's interesting, but it's unbelievable that you do this. What is this?
So a lot of people don't know this, but I have a scuba program, I have a tennis program, and I have a golf program that I do year-round, and I've been doing for 3 years consecutive. Basically, I'm the only individual on the East Coast that's a nonprofit that does it, period.
And you do this for veterans?
And I do it for veterans, but I also open it up for the community.
Well, that is wonderful. But and like, it's just to get them active?
This is an introduction. So I'm PADI certified. The gentleman there is Captain Mike from Bronx Scuba. I went through his training course through another organization that paid for me to go, Semper Fi program. So like a sergeant of Marines, what I did was I learned something, and then I teach the troops. Pass it along.
All right, let's get some more pictures here. We got all kinds of things that Gonzalo does. What's next? We got it. Okay, so this is you counseling a veteran? of
No,
some-
this is a gentleman that is a community leader. I can't say enough about the gentleman, Ronald Goodman. He literally gave me an office space for free for the
Wow.
next year. I don't have to do anything. Now, unfortunately, it's an office space, so it's just a chair and a desk, but I do with what I can.
Right. All right, let's go to the next photo. Let's just keep them rolling here. What do we got? Okay, you were honored.
Yes. So recently, the Star of the Sea Cadet Corps, General Rhonda from the organization, gave me an honorary title of captain, made me his public relations officer. Since I opened the Bronx Veteran Chamber of Commerce, it's just something
All right,
as a side thing.
great. Keep going. I hope we're embarrassing you here.
Please,
That's what
yes, you are.
That's what I'm trying to do. And now here's the other thing. You do scuba, but then you're also out there at Turtle Cove
Yes,
playing golf.
yeah, so-
Tell me what you do with the veterans there.
Rick Nielsen, once again, the Seprify from California paid for me to learn how to golf. So since the last 3 years, I've been teaching veterans on how to golf, but veterans have family, they have wives and kids, or excuse me, because it's gender neutral. So it goes both ways. They have
Yeah,
spouses.
husbands and
they have
wives
husbands
and
and
kids,
wives
right,
and
okay.
kids. So I teach them as well. I just became golf instructor of the year for Turtle Cove.
Right. You know, all of these things support veterans in their civilian life. I want to get into, and we're going to talk with Mr. Morales also about some of the things that veterans need. Aside from, you know, helping them with services and things like that, from a mental point of view, do you see a difference in some of the veterans when they get a chance to do these kinds of things because otherwise, frankly, their lives are not as fulfilled? Talk to me about kind of the mental state that so many veterans are in after having gone through some of the most difficult experiences you can imagine.
And this is why I love this show, because you ask the hard questions nobody else
it's
wants
the
to.
tough questions.
Now, when you become homeless, which I was, once you get out of homeless, what do you do next? You can get an employment, sure. You get the housing, sure. But what do you do after that? Once again, I was a sergeant making $60,000 a year, jumping out of, hanging from a helicopter on a rope. I was shooting guns, et cetera, et cetera. And then you had that situation. Now you're lifting,
welcome back to the Bronx.
welcome back to the
Yeah,
Bronx.
right, exactly.
So now what next? Now you got stabilized, but where's everybody that was there for you before? So I try to bring the community and the veteran together so you can understand that they care about us. A lot of people do. It's just the way you approach it makes it difficult.
Let them show they're not alone. So, and what about veterans who come into the college? I mean, it's very easy to say, okay, you go to college. It's, Sergeant Duran described it perfectly. I was just hanging out of a helicopter in a danger zone, and now you're telling me sit down and pay attention in accounting class.
Right.
What are the issues that you deal with and then ultimately support veterans with to help them succeed?
Soldiers that come in, I would say veterans, not just soldiers, because we have Marines, Airmen, and the Navy as well.
Thank you.
They come in, and a couple of them do have problems. A couple of them have to have special situations as far as testing, where to sit in the classroom, letting them sit in the back of the classroom especially.
Interesting. They would rather sit
They
in the
would
back?
rather sit in the back of the classroom because they don't want to feel crowded. They don't want to feel like they're going to be trapped so something happens. So they want a quick access to an exit.
Very interesting. I mean, it's horribly tragic, but very interesting. And so I'm guessing in that circumstance, you actually work not only with the veteran, him or herself, but with professors and say, look, this is a veteran, and we all of us need to take special care.
Right. I actually not just advise, the student veterans. I also try to be there for them just in case they need somebody to talk to be a barrier in between.
Could you give me an example, obviously without naming names, of the kinds of things that you intercede on? I think it would be interesting to people to get a real sense of what's in here with a veteran who comes back to civilian life.
When a veteran first comes to us, right, depends on when he's actually coming at us. Sometimes they come in straight from being deployed and they've just gotten out of the military service. That's the kind that you would handle more with kid gloves than you would actually somebody who has just been in the service and maybe not deployed or deployed some time ago, where you could talk to them a little more about it.
Right.
When somebody comes in and they're looking for an education but they're not sure what they want to do, you got to see what they really like to do. You have to get in there and maybe ask those little key questions, the open-ended questions to let them start talking and bring themselves out.
Right. And I'm assuming, and given I know what Monroe College's success rate, so to speak, that they do very well when they really are cared for.
Yes.
I mean, when they're
veterans that are
supported
cared for, they're gonna succeed either way, whether it's in civilian life or in military life. Coming to Monroe College, we do take care of our veterans. We make sure that they have everything they need. We make sure that they are in line to graduate, and we monitor that as well.
Right.
Monitoring their attendance, monitoring their grades, and making sure that everything they do is going to make sure that they are a success.
And I know that the gentleman sitting to your right this is music to his ears, that there's people supporting veterans. You really are very concerned about veteran homelessness, having been in that circumstance. Talk to me about, listen, homelessness is a difficult problem for anybody. More difficult for a veteran, the same? Talk to me about that, right? Because I know that it's on your mind, and here you are. You've got the floor, and you can tell what you think.
All right, here's where my time to shine is. So, not every situation is the same. I can't say that every veteran is going to come into that perspective that might become homeless or not, or PTSD or anything like that. It's just the people I work with are the ones that fall through the crack. So what my situation was in November of 2011, I get out. Well, school doesn't start until January. What are you supposed to do for those 3 or 4 months that you don't do anything? Now you have to do 30 days before your first paycheck comes in. That's another situation right there. Now, on top of that, who's going to hire you for 3 or 4 months?
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah, and if I can just interject, that is a difficult thing for anybody. A young man or a young woman in the Bronx who's like in between and doesn't have a job and is waiting for school to start or waiting for the next step in their lives. For a veteran who has potentially some PTSD at any level, certainly the combat affects you, that must be particularly difficult.
And once again, a sergeant who did 8 years, who had $60,000 income just a month before, in that type of situation, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Now,
especially because you feel unappreciated after, look what I just put my life on the line for you people, right? I mean,
that's a hard hit to take. Now, on top of that, somebody like me, I went to Fordham pre-med for the health science degree that I was.
That was after you served?
After I served, I went for the pre-health degree. $60,000 tuition, and then $40,000 that you get to go off the BAH with stipends and grants and the Pell Grants, et cetera. That's $100,000 for 3 years. Where's that money going depends on the school, how you spend it, but most likely you're going to use it to live off of. Now, that's what I wanted to do, but every realtor that I went to said, sorry, we won't take it.
Right.
Now, 1 or 2 bad apples makes a huge impact on a community. So what I've done since then is make it known that we are dependable. You believed in us to serve and protect you. Now we're back home and we have money in our hands. Trust. It should already be there.
We're going to do the right thing.
Yes.
And Ray, this brings up another whole thing, and my experience certainly with you and with the college and everything else. A lot of these veterans turn out to be really good students. They really want, like, once you get past some of those issues, talk to me about, number one, what subject matter they seem to like to study, and 2, the kind of the nature of who they are that helps them to be successful.
Well, you know that the military has fields in every job aspect that there is, at the technical field, the allied health field, criminal justice field, and of course combat, right? Combat isn't really too marketable these days. So.
Can I say happily? We're trying to live in a peaceful society here in America.
But, somebody who comes in, a lot of the gentlemen and ladies that are in that field where they can, be more aggressive, they go towards the CJ program. They learn to control.
CJ meaning criminal justice?
Yes.
And I bet you they make really good cops or really good agents of one or the other.
Yeah, they get picked up a lot by the NYPD and do the USA jobs. They can apply and they get picked up a lot easier. They have a little bit of veterans preference, and
that's good.
Taking the test,
I vote yes
makes
on
it better. Then you have your technical ones where they go for IT, information technology, computer information systems, those type.
And some of that is because they were in the service and had those responsibilities when they were in the service.
All the types of jobs that they was holding that led them toward that field. And then you have your allied health people, which go for, medical assisting, public
Right,
health,
right.
nursing, pharmacy.
And they
which-
become successful students, I'm going to assert, because of the discipline, right?
Yes.
Because they learn discipline, they live discipline, and frankly, I wish some of us saw some of the others, students would learn that kind of discipline. Gonzalo, I want to congratulate you. You were honored, I guess, by a father's organization. and
Yes,
all that.
New York City's Father Coalition
go.
gave me Father of the Year.
And talk to me, you have an upcoming show on this network, on
Yes,
BronxNet television?
well, it's modeled based off Bronxtalk.
Oh, there
it's
we go,
called-
that's right.
It's called Vet Talk. I've been doing it
Really?
for yes.
Oh, nice.
I've been doing it for years, but recently something came up where somebody told me, why not do it at Lehman? We did the production
I
access
mean,
course
through BronxNet television.
through BronxNet, yes.
right.
We did the courses already. Why not put it into play in the studio? So I was like, I jumped to the opportunity.
And what else you got coming up?
We have our new campaign for suicide awareness. It's called 22 Hugs a Day.
22 hugs a day.
22 Hugs a
That-
Day.
That sounds like barely enough.
Well, I'm not known for my lovableness, but
Come on, he's lovable. Go ahead.
the way I look at it is, when we ask for a hug, we lower our defenses and we open ourselves up for resources and
And so that's
possibilities.
all right. So I'm going to ask them to hug, and then I'm going over there. I've never done
Right.
this on the show before. Come on, there we go. All right, here we go. I've never done this before. Right? I told you I wasn't going to do it,
You
but I
said
am
it,
doing
but
it.
look at that. That's a good bear hug. He's a good hugger, everybody.
There we go. If people want to get in touch with Devil Dog USA, how do they do that?
You can go on our website, www.devildogusainc.org. You can email me, CEO@devildogusainc.org, or you can call me at 516-515-0240.
Okay. And for you, Ray, if prospective students are interested in education, you can do the phone number. How do they get to you?
Right. I'm at monroecollege.edu. You can get me at rmorales@monroecollege.edu, and on the cell phone will be
Well, don't do your cell phone.
646-753-2355.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's do 800-55 Monroe. That's how you do it. All
that's
right.
also a
Fair enough.
school phone.
Listen, gentlemen, thank you for your
Thank you so
service,
much.
both in the military, in the armed forces, and also in civilian life. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Folks, we want to do a little viewer mail. This was about the show we did a couple of weeks ago about the remodeling of the Grand Concourse, and Richard G. posted on Facebook. He said the best thing that could be added are staggered crosswalks to address overcrowded islands. To address the parking issue, the city should build more public parking lots along Jerome Avenue like you see by Fordham Road. If the Bronx wants to get more bike commuters, improve and expand the central business district. Make Jerome Avenue into a central business district. We thank Richard G. via Facebook, and if you have further questions or comments on anything you heard on tonight's show or anything going on in the Bronx, then email them to us at bronxtalk@bronxnet.org or put them on our Facebook page, and we'll read them on the air during a future edition of our program. We ask you to like the Bronx Talk Facebook page, and you can check out our archives at bronxnet.org. You'll find Bronx Talk on the lower right navigation bar. Next week, we'll focus on the election results and get you some reaction from Bronx officials in Washington. Thanks to producer Jayla, director Brianna, and production supervisor is Michael. To the cast of thousands, to these guys especially, and all the veterans who serve us in our country, thank you, thank you, thank you.